What's good, everybody? It's your boy, The Clinician, and I'm back bringing y'all some new stuff as we continue on our journey into comics. So, I just want to share with you guys today an unboxing. So, this is a comic book that I got on eBay. Basically, just kind of peeped it out. As you guys know, on a journey to collect all of the Journey into Mystery comics. For those of you guys who do not know, Journey into Mystery are those comics that include Thor. Is basically where he got his start. I mean, it's that bread and butter, for that golden, or I should say silver age of Marvel Comics. So, basically Thor is my favorite, superhero. That's my guy. So my goal is to try to collect, at least like all that Journey into Mystery run by the end of the year. Kind of halfway there. I think I'm like 26, 27 issues in. There's 43 issues total in the whole Journey into Mystery series. So I'm over halfway there, guys. So, just keep me in your thoughts and prayers as I continue on this journey and trying to get these books. In addition to that, I'm also looking to collect those early Silver Age Thor comics as well. As a, it's kind of like that secondary alley-oop to the Journey into Mystery. I'm stopping at the Silver Age mark, which is around Thor issue, I believe it's 182, 183. Somewhere around that line where we start getting into the 70s, which kind of switches over into the Bronze Age. So I'm still looking, so I'm looking to kind of collect those books up until that point. So this particular book that I'm going to basically open up, I'm going to, open it up, talk a little bit about it, tell you a little bit about the story. So there are some spoilers for this particular book, but for the early stuff, I really feel, honestly, the storytelling, was still in the early stages. So a lot of it was very simplistic, but kind of straight to the point. And a lot of its approach. So I feel like, whether I tell it to you or not, I don't really think it takes away too much. It really isn't too much of a plot thread going on other than, the typical, bad guy of the week or starting off. So without further ado, what we're going to do is we're going to open this box up. We're going to talk a little bit about the comic. And, I'd love to get some feedback. So after I post this, guys, give me some comments. Give me some feedback. Let's interact. Let's talk a little bit more about comics and stuff, as I open this. So, again, I got this off of eBay. So, eBay is something I kind of check periodically just to kind of see what's out there. And every now and again, you catch some pretty good deals on there. And, this particular one I did. I actually was happy with the purchase. This was a book actually that was a little bit more pricey. It was kind of pricey early on at one point. I mean, it was like hundreds of dollars, and I actually got this for less than $200. Actually, I think it was like buck 60, buck 50. For this particular book, maybe a little less than that. So, opening the box, first thing I noticed, you gotta love these packaging balls. Now, these are not my favorite, and I really just, I don't really see the need for them, honestly, especially if you're packaging everything else the right way. I get it, but it just makes a complete mess, and they're kind of annoying, so. But, it is what it is. At the end of the day, as long as the book is okay, I'm cool with it. So, this is my eBay purchase from Gary Dolgoff Comics. They're in East Hampton, Massachusetts. So, shout out to him for, or shout out to them for making sure it got here safe. And as you can see, for the price, I paid looks like $167.99 for it. So, not too bad on the pricing. So, what did I get? All right, guys, so I got Journey into Mystery. Let me open this bad boy up so you guys can see. If you didn't already see it when I put the eBay receipt in front of you guys. But I got here a Journey into Mystery issue 91. And the significance of this story, this is the first appearance of the Marvel Comics logo. Or the Marvel Comics Group logo. So for the longest time, Marvel wasn't, they had a different branding on their comic books. So if you look at some of the earlier issues, you don't notice this Marvel Group's logo at the top. So this is the first time they actually put that up there. And this is also I believe this is the third appearance of Loki. And this is the first appearance of the villain known as Sandu. Now, who is Sandu? Sandu is a villain. Basically, the story goes, and for you guys, it's spoiler alert. Basically, Sandu is a mystic. He's a fortune teller. So Thor, at this time, for those of you guys who don't know, has an alter ego. And his alter ego is this doctor by the name of Donald Blake. And the story behind Thor's alter ego is that back in the day, Thor was kind of a hard person to get along with. He wasn't exactly the most noble guy back in the day, to be quite frank. He was a little bit of he had a little bit of a pretentious type of personality. He was a little bit more, selfish, and he had like an arrogance to him. So to humble Thor and to teach him the importance of nobility, he basically reincarnated Thor into the body of this guy named Donald Blake, who actually had a lame leg where he had to use a cane to walk. So it was very humbling for Thor. Now, he would later, in Journey into Mystery 83, find a cane or, a stick, a wooden stick, after, there was an alien invasion and, they were under attack, and he basically sought refuge, Donald Blake did, in this cave. And in the cave, he found this stick. And when he grabbed the stick to, basically use it to try to, use as to use some leverage on for his leg, it actually ended up turning into a hammer. He accidentally tapped the stick, and when he tapped the stick, it turns into a hammer. Of course, the hammer has the enchantment, whosoever be worthy, whosoever shall he be worthy, pick up the hammer, shall possess the power of Thor. Something to that extent, basically picks up the hammer, and then basically Thor comes out, right? So Donald Blake learned later that if he tapped the cane once, he basically turns into Thor. If he taps the hammer twice, he turns back to Donald Blake. And basically he would kind of go back and forth between those alter egos. And his way of being Donald Blake was his way of being more human and interacting with just the general public. And then of course he had a love interest in Jane Foster, who also worked at his doctor's office. Well, him and Jane Foster basically went out on a kind of, I guess, semi kind of date, because at this point they're kind of like will they won't they kind of relationship, where it's like Donald Blake, it's kind of like, I'm kind of feeling her, but I don't know if I should tell her because I'm Thor. And even Thor is kind of feeling her. And Odin's not really liking the fact that Thor likes Jane. And it's this whole like little subplot of like love or whatever. So in any event, Loki, as we all know, is the half brother of Thor, who basically be hating, not half brother, the adopted brother of Thor, who always be hating. And in this particular story, he's still held captive because Thor actually just whooped his butt like a few issues ago and sent him back to Asgard. And basically Loki, said, well, okay, I'm trapped here, but maybe I can use my powers to manipulate the situation. So he looks down, through his his ball or whatever to see what Thor's up to. And, he's with Jane Foster. They're on the day of the carnival. They meet this fortune teller named Sandu, who basically, can predict the future or whatever, right? He's semi-aware. So because he's semi-aware and because he has a little bit of an innate ability, Loki basically gives him some of his power. And when he does that, Sandu now basically has the power of a god. So And what does he do? What's the first thing Sandu does when he gets the power? He goes and robs the bank. So he robs the bank, and then Thor finds out that, oh man, this guy's robbing the bank. Let me go stop him. So him and Sandu actually get into it. And it's actually a pretty cool issue. And surprisingly so, Sandu actually, up until this point, Loki was kind of like not the Loki that we know today. He was kind of like a goof almost. You know, he would try different things and these different plots that would just never go anywhere. And Thor would just, man, get out of here, bro. Man, you're not even on my level, bro. Like, you just not there. You just not on my level. But this Sandu character actually did better than Loki did. And actually, Loki kind of helped him out a little bit and told him, like, hey, if you keep Thor separated from his hammer, then you for like 60 seconds, then you'll win. And what is the significance of that? Why, would Thor be in danger if he was separated from his hammer, right? Well, today, it's really not much of a concern, right? But back in the day, that was one of the stipulations Odin bestowed upon Thor. Should he be separated from his hammer for more than 60 seconds, well, Thor reverts back to Donald Blake. So he can't be separated from his hammer more than 60 seconds. And I always thought that was kind of like a whack weakness for Thor. Honestly, I never was a big fan of the 60-second rule. I actually like the Donald Blake aspect of it. And I actually think that, who was it that brought? Straczynski. Straczynski's run on Thor, I thought he actually did, honestly, in my personal opinion, the best rendition of Donald Blake in Thor dynamic. I thought he really handled that balance pretty well. Before that, I was really never big on Donald Blake. I always thought Donald Blake, alter ego is kind of I could take it or leave it. But the way, like, my man did it, it was really dope. Like, I really liked it, and it was really cool. And not to say that, the way Stan and, Jack Kirby did it, and, even some of the early orgs did it, was bad. I mean, it had some good moments, and, and I thought it kind of helped humanize the character a little bit more. But I just felt like it was just kind of missing something. I feel like, with Straczynski's run, I feel like this Donald Blake had a little bit more personality. He wasn't as, meek and kind of just not really confident in himself. I felt like the more he was like a more updated version that had a little bit more bravado to him, and he was a little bit more cooler. I feel like I think he had more of a cool factor. There you go. He had more of a cool factor. I feel like that version of Donald Blake had more of a cool factor. And of course, Donny Cates, his Donald Blake was on some other stuff. Like, he was just completely like loopy. And, because he was like completely in like a whole nother realm or whatever. But that's the story for another day. Getting back to this though, so basically Sandu attacks, and during this time, Odin actually, and this is actually the first appearance of Thor's Belt of Strength. So for you guys who don't know, Thor by himself is already, like, just in general, he's Asgardian. So he's naturally strong, and actually stronger, probably the strongest Asgardian, out there. Like, dude is like, his strength is dang near limitless. I mean, he literally picked up the Midgard serpent and, lunged him. So, I mean, dude is like super strong. But, in the early days, Odin had actually crafted a belt. It's called the Belt of Strength that actually would double Thor's strength, but at the time, Thor didn't really need it because really nothing was a challenge for him at that point. So, getting back to Sandu was actually winning his battles, bit of battle with Thor, and actually was able to separate the hammer from Thor and restrain Thor using his magic. The only slip up Sandu had, though, was Sandu got a little arrogant and he tried to pick up the hammer. Well, we know in order to pick up the hammer, you gotta be worthy. And when he tried to pick up the hammer, he couldn't. And Thor, Odin bestowed the belt of strength on Thor, and Thor was able to break out of the magical hold of Sandu, overpower Sandu, and basically, Sandu, because of the mental strain he was, putting on himself to try to pick up the hammer, he ended up just going into, turning into a vegetable. He just went comatose, and he lost the powers that Loki had gave him. So Thor was able to overpower him, take him to jail, and then, of course, Loki lost again. So this particular book, I really am happy to have this in my collection, and it's a 4.0. So it's a, you know, it's a lower grade, but I mean, it actually presents pretty well. Like, it actually looks really good. I mean, this right here is a part, this is the plastic. This paper right here is on the plastic, so this is not on the book, you know. Let me see if I can take it out for you guys, you know, so you guys can see it without it being trapped in the plastic. Yeah, this looks really nice, actually. I'm not mad at this at all. Yeah. What do you guys think? Do you think I got a pretty good deal on this? Ended up paying $167.99. So this is an earlier issue of Thor. And for you, those of you guys who know, those early Journey into Mystery issues are pretty pricey. So this actually presents pretty well. I'm not mad at it. I mean, yeah, it's a 4, and it's a true 4, but I'm not mad at it. It looks good. You know, especially when you're talking about that red backdrop and the brown. So yeah, you're definitely got a lot going on there. But I think the colors overall pop. I like this book. I'm happy with it. And my journey continues, guys, to try to finish this Journey into Mystery run with Thor. You know, I'm really excited about this. And you know, the other thing too is I've actually been reading the earlier Journey into Mystery works. Like, I got the omnibus that I've been reading. So once I'm done reading, you know, the first volume of the omnibus, I think I'm going to do a review and just kind of talk about some of the issues that I like, what stood out to me in the whole run, you know, just things that I really thought were pretty cool, you know, after reading it. So, you know, and it's so far, I must say, I am enjoying it. It's a different type of read, because it's the 60s. So I mean, the wording, the vibe is a lot different, you know, it's just a different dynamic. But I am enjoying myself because it's a fun read. It's cool seeing where all these villains came from, how everything started. And what I'm liking is, as I'm getting further into the read, I'm really enjoying it even more because, you know, we start getting into the Tales of Asgard titles. And I actually want to talk about that a little bit more too, after I finish reading like the complete omnibus and like how all those kind of coincide, because Tales of Asgard to me, oh man, it steals the show on some of those issues, man, because those become even more intriguing than the actual issue, just because you find out about the mythos of Thor when he was a kid and some of the trials he had to go through to become worthy, right? To become the Thor that we know today. And of course, his, you see a younger Loki who also tags along, you know, for some of the adventures. And it's really, really, really a fun read, guys. So if you guys get a chance, I know a lot of times people say, oh, it's really hokey and, you know, it's a villain of the week. And yeah, there's some truth in that. I mean, you do get those occasional like villains of the week, and, you know, villains that you feel like Thor should be no problem for Thor actually put up a pretty good fight against them. But all in all, I have to say it's fun. It's just a fun read, learning about where these characters came from in the earlier issues, and just kind of seeing where Thor was at during that time. And in fact, you do get some pretty good stories. I actually just read one on the Tomorrow Man that was awesome, and it was actually like an Avengers tie-in, you know, that kind of like, you know, coincided with that. So I actually really, really enjoyed it, and overall I'm actually having a real fun time reading the earlier Journey into Mystery works. So you guys tell me, what are your thoughts on, you know, Silver Age reads back in the 60s? Are you guys into reading any of those books? Do you guys like any of that stuff? Is it just boring? Is it too hokey for you? Just not your jam? Let me know. Put something in the comments. Let's have a conversation about it, all right? But with that being said, guys, that'll wrap this video up for today. My quest is going to continue to get these Journey into Mysteries. I have a whole bunch of other stuff there to unbox as well. Other comic books that I'm also collecting. But yo, it's been so much fun rocking with you guys. I'm always happy to do videos like this and just sit here and talk comics and just share with you guys my collection, my experiences, you know, with the books. And, you know, with that being said, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Shout out to you. Peace.